Guys, are you a reloading fan? But especially, are you Dillon Precision reloading fan? Yeah, stay tuned. This video is exactly for you. Hello guys, and welcome back to Calm, Relax, and Learn. Eric here. In this video, I just want to show you my Dillon collection, or my Dillon Precision reloading equipment collection. And as you can see, I've tried to capture all of my gear. Back there you can see the media separator, the Dillon primer sorter, or I forget the name, but the primer machine, for lack of a better word. And I've got all my caliber conversion kits, all the mounts with the different dies. I've got the Super Swage 600 over here, and the Dillon 550C. With, you know, all the accessories, and behind me I have the Dillon 1100 with a full setup. And on this video I just wanted to show you what I got. A lot of people are usually interested in Dillon equipment, and is it really worth it? And the answer is yes. So I'm gonna break down the equipment that I have by pieces, by each individual part, and hopefully you can learn something and enjoy. Sit back and relax. Let's go. Okay, let's go ahead and start with caliber conversion boxes. On this left hand side you will find all the caliber conversions that I use in my Dillon 550C. And I will show you the actual mounts in a second, but I've got the 45 ACP, which is one of the calibers that I reload, 44 special, 44 mag. Got the 9mm Luger, because I do reload 9mm on the 550C. When it comes to reloading for my regular 9mm pistols, I do all my 9mm major on the 1100, but that is just dedicated for competition. Next I have the 45 Colt, and the two rifles that I have, which is 30-06 and 7.62 by 39. I also have the 30-30, but I believe 30-30 uses a mix of locator pins and shell plates from these calibers already mentioned. I also have the Dillon 1100 or 1050 conversion kit, which includes the shell plate, locator pins, etc. that I'm using right now, and the 9mm dies that I go on the 1100. I have two dies here. The seating die, it's kind of nice, hefty. See if I can show you that here real quick. But basically I have it here because I'm using a Reading competition die with a micrometer up top, and this is their Dillon decapping die, and I'm using a Lee U die, or undersized die, for all my cases, and it usually gives me a better fit when I run my 9mm major. So that's it for this. Let's move on to the next piece. Okay, next in line I have the Dillon Super Swage 600. I use this primarily to swage 223 cases, but it came with adapters so that I can also swage larger calibers like 30-06, 308, and I can even swage 9mm cases. But if I use 9mm cases for my regular 9mm pistols, then yeah, that would be great. If it's just for 9 major, I use the swager that comes on the Dillon 1100, which is pretty cool. And you've seen there's a review on my channel. I believe there's an unboxing of this and also a review. And next thing that I have is a Dillon case lube. And I've made my own case lube, which is pretty much lanolin and alcohol, if I'm not mistaken. And it's pretty good. You know, it just lubes the cases when you're running through your press. And usually you lube your bottleneck cases or rifle cases, because ask me why I know that. I've had cases stuck on dies, and I've had to pretty much get rid of the die because it's impossible to get that case out. And if you do get it out, the die is all messed up, all scratched up. But I've also found recently that even if you lube pistol cases, you know, it's well worth it. It just runs the cases so much smoothly through the dies that it's just a pleasure to do. Okay, let's move on. Next is the Dillon media separator. I'm not sure if it comes in different sizes. I believe not. But this is the media separator. It also comes with a big gray rectangular bin. And let me tell you, this is great. It's a great quality. I'm going to show you something that usually people don't show you. It's got these tabs here where it hooks up on onto the base, and it doesn't turn around. And it's pretty great when you open it and you're trying to dump all the cases with the media or corn cob or whatever you use, and this is not spinning. It just sits there, and then when you want to tumble it, you just remove the pins or you move it out of the slots that locks it, and then you spin it and you separate the media. Now this is often used for walnut media or corn cob or bird feed, but I also use it for stainless steel. So it's versatile. I just dump the cases with the water and the stainless steel. I spin it, separate them, and then I go with a magnet and pick up all the stainless steel pins from the gray bin. Again, consistent with Dillon Precision. It's not the cheapest or the most inexpensive, but once you get it, if you can, you can tell it's just quality. It works every single time, and it does whatever you need it to do. Okay, so that's it for the media separator. Let's move on. Okay, here I have the setup for the 30-06 caliber that I use on the 550C. Basically, this is the tool head. It's just the basic one that I believe came with the press. I also put labels with my label maker, and it just works out perfectly. I am using a Rcbs decapper and resizer die. I am using a Lee powder throw die with the new locking ring, and this is the Lee the powder measure. This is the basic powder measure. It's very easy to set up. It's plasticky, but it is very consistent. And when I'm reloading and the case turns into the station, let me show you the powder measure. You just, drop it and move on to the next station. And this is, I believe, an Rcbs seating die. It's very, very reliable. Next, you have the Lee factory crimp, and I am a Lee factory crimp, sort of maniac. All of my calibers, I use the Lee factory crimp. It's very reliable. I trust it. So yeah, and there's got the shell plate corresponding to that is the shell plate number 1 and the locator pins. Okay, moving on to the next caliber. Alright, so this is the 3030 tool head that I have. The tool station. The plate number 7 for 3030. Whoop. And then I have these custom heads by JF USA. I bought them on eBay. I believe there is a little better one sold by one of the bigger houses online, but this is fairly inexpensive. I think it was like 30 bucks, but I like it because it's got the built-in laser engraved caliber, so I kind of like that. Alright, so first station, I think this is a Lee 3030 depriming and resizing. Then I move on to the Lee powder throw, and it has the Lee drum powder measure, case activated. And if you change recipes, all you gotta do is change the tabs here, and you know, you can add a different recipe, and you can even have a label to mark your tabs. You know, this case activated. Alright, then I have the Lee bullet sitting die. You can also crimp with a sitting die, but I usually don't because I go with the Lee factory crimp die. It's one of my favorite, and I'm sticking to it. Moving on. Okay, the next tool head and base that I have is for the 7.62 by 39. You know, one day my wife told me that she wanted to buy an AK-47, and we found a pretty good one, the Romanian version, and she loves it. I'll do a review on it later on. This is the shell plate number A, or letter A. Locator pins. Let's see if I can. No, it's just right there, letter A, or actually number 2. And this is the shell plate of the die holder. For this, I'm using an Rcbs, I believe. Let me double check. Yeah, Rcbs decapping and sizing die. Moving on, I also have another Lee Autodrum case activated powder measure. But if you notice, the bottle is a little different, so this is the newer version as compared to the older version right there. Same thing, or same difference, as I like to say. It just resizes, case mouth. It opens the case mouth and it drops the powder. Next, I have the Rcbs bullet seating die, and again the Lee factory crimp die. 7.62 by 39. Okay, moving on to my pistol calibers that I reload on the 550C 45 ACP. Shell holder number, hold on, let me see if I can. Alright, so this is shell holder number 1. Locator pins also number, let's see here, no, So shell holders, this is the locator pins number 1. Again, the JF USA shell or die holder, 45 ACP engraved, Lee depriming and resizing die. This one I have a Dillon powder die. You just hook up the Dillon powder measure to it, and it expands the case. You can see down here the funnel and expands the 45 ACP cases. Moving on to the Lee bullet seating die and the Lee factory crimp die. 45 ACP. And for this I have a Springfield Armory 45 ACP, the shorter 3.3 barrel XDS. It's very snappy, but it's a good concealed carry. And I recently bought a Kimber pistol. I forget the nomenclature, but it's a pleasure to shoot because I make them light, and it's great to shoot the 1911 with a very light load of 45 ACP. Okay, this is the 44 Magnum Fortifier Special. I have a Ruger Revolver that I shoot 44 mag. I love to shoot factory or semi-hot loads, but I also enjoy those mouth farts, very, very low recoil loads. Shell plate number 4. Locator pins number 4. JF USA tool head, and as you notice, I like to get different colors of tool heads. Back there is a red, green, yellow. For dies, Lee decapping and resizing die, Dillon powder die with funnel to expand case mouth, Lee bullet seating die, and Lee factory crimp die. Okay, this is one of my 9mm tool heads. Again, I reload 9mm for my regular 9mm pistols, and this is one of those tool heads that I am most proud of because I've been able to pretty much automate everything, starting with the 9mm U die that I have. And I can put several dies here. I have the Dillon that it's on the box still, or I can put the U die that I use on the 1100. Then I have a Dillon powder measure, and I bought this funnel. I believe it was in the Armanoff website. It's pretty good because you can clearly see when the powder is low. Here, let me go all the way up so you can see the entire powder measure. And then moving on to the seating or the bullet drop. In this case, I have a Magp bullet drop tubes and system. Pretty much all you do is you rotate this part. It's all billet aluminum, so it's really, really well made, and it drops a bullet for you. I use this rod here, which is pretty heavy, to put it on top of the bullets to make sure that they keep feeding, and it is being used over a Hornady bullet feed die. Lastly, I have an Rcbs seating and crimp because I'm using the station for the bullet drop. I have the combined functions here. It's great. I love it. And I think this is also an Armanoff knob to adjust the powder measure. So yeah, that's my 9mm tool head with a case holder or shell holder number 5. Okay, so next we have the Dillon RF100 primer filler. And I apologize, earlier in the video I couldn't think of the name for the life of me. But yeah, this is what I use to fill up primers, and let me tell you, it is awesome, especially when you're doing a lot of cases as you reload, and you fill out that primer tube, you're reloading, you can set more primers here, and they're loading on the tube. So when you're done reloading that first 100 set, you just pick up the tube here and you're good to go. And laying down here, I also have the large primer tube, and I just swap them. Now let me tell you a note about swapping them. It's really not the most simple operation to swap. You really have to remove this plastic case. There is a sleeve here that you have to remove. There's another sleeve they have to remove up in the top. It's not a problem. I can do it. But if you have the money, which again, this is extremely expensive, I would just go ahead and buy a second one and have it set up for large. So this is the reloading equipment that I have on this side of the table. Tool heads, Dillon RF100, you know. And next, I'm just gonna move on to the presses that I have, rather, and show you what those look like. All right, this is the Dillon 550C. I believe is the one of the newer models of the 550 series. I was just last reloading 45 long Colt with black powder. So there is an Rcbs black powder dropper that has the brass drum that I was using. So I was dumping the powder by hand. I have a Lee, I always get, you know, depriming and resizing die. The Lee neck expansion, I should say the case mouth expansion and powder drop. I have a Lee bullet seat and a Lee factory crimp. Now as for accessories in this press, I have the light that comes from here. I'm just saying the generic names like lights, I believe. This might be what you call it. This might just be inline fabrication. I also have more lights, LED strip here. Let me see if I can turn it on without really. Okay, yeah, it's not so bad. So yeah, so that's what I got on this setup, and of course the primer alarm. I believe that was an aftermarket accessory, or not aftermarket, but it didn't come with the press. So the bins, lights, and that's pretty much all of those accessories that I have with the 550C. Now let's move on to the next press. Okay, lastly, this is the Dillon 1100. I've made a few videos on this, so go check them out, but I pretty much run 9mm major, and I have a camera that I use to check if there's a primer under the case. And I have skylights, I have different range panda accessories. Incredible press, super fast. I just shot a USB-SA match and there was no issues of ejection or feeding issues, this press makes it all happen. Alright guys, so that's all I got to say for this video. I know that you have different options of places you can go to watch videos. I appreciate you coming to my channel and taking the time to view my videos. Please subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one.